I'm here at Peachtree Classic Cars. This is Eric with a 1972 Volkswagen bus. And I'm going to crank it up, and I actually just took it for a little drive, but it really needs, the engine needs to be gone through, and you're going to hear this in just a second as soon as I crank it. Oh, my battery's getting low now. Darn it. There we go. Battery's getting a little low. It's got a bit of a lifter knock in it. So this is kind of, I don't get these in very often, but this is what I probably kind of call like a mechanic's winter project. It's kind of a bus. Really cool patina on this bus, and actually turn the lights on. We picked this bus up, and I had planned originally to restore it, and the more I kept looking at it and seeing the patina that it had, the more I said I didn't want to mess with it, because you can't buy a paint job like this, you know, a little bit faded here, sun faded over the years. And so what I did was had my Volkswagen guy go around it, and he really is a type 1 expert for engines, but he's not a type 4 expert. And he just said, you know, I want to let this bus go to someone who can rebuild that engine, or at least go through it. May not need a complete rebuild, but as with Volkswagens, I'm gonna turn the light switch off. Oftentimes the best thing, as long as you've got it pulled out, is spend the extra, you know, $500 or $600 and just go ahead and rebuild it. So I did go through and do quite a few things to it, and just to show you, first of all, that it's got a pretty straight body on it. It's got a few spots with some dents, so I'm not saying it's perfectly straight, but it's not wavy. It's got brand new weather stripping around a lot of the windows. I didn't end up doing all the windows, but we did the windshield, and we did the rear windows. I did not do the jealousy windows. So the back window as well, pulled it out and put new weather stripping in. I was trying to keep that patinaed look and say, hey, what if we restored everything else but left the paint the way it is? And so we put brand new, so I've got about $1,500 in parts in the car, in the bus right now, because I've got all brand new lights, brand new indicators around it, put a brand new exhaust on it, thinking that we might have, we were hoping that we might be able to pump that lifter up and just get this engine running better. And we didn't want to replace it with a type 1. The really unique thing about a 72 is it's the last year you get the old school body style, but it's the first year of the type 4 engine, which has a lot more power. So it's really would be doing an injustice to this bus to put a type 1 engine in it, although a lot of guys do that just because maybe they're a little bit easier to work on. We did go through a lot of parts of the engine, put new distributor on, electronic ignition, things like that. So something that's kind of rare about this bus, aside from the fact that it is an original Westfalia conversion, which I'm about to show you inside, is that this also has dual jealousy windows. And that's what these windows are called. The vent windows on the side are called the jealousy windows. And they did not typically come with jealousy windows on both sides. So either someone customized this, or this one was customized possibly when the Westfalia customization was done. So these vehicles are bought, sent to Westfalia, and they do the customization. So if you know anything about buses or Volkswagens, then you'll know that this bus is filled with some very expensive things. And yes, for example, this is broken off, but you can buy the replacements for these. But just the fact that all the parts are here, these table and leg, for example, almost always missing. The plug over there is still there, and it's an American plug. It's not a European plug. So just the seats that are intact, and this is the original upholstery, and it's actually in pretty good condition. It's not perfect, but it's not ripped or torn. on the seat. This is called the Z bed. So this bed actually pops up and folds down into a real bed. You got your little storage compartment in here. And you'll notice that the floor pan throughout is in really good condition. The bus does have some rust on it. I'm going to show you that in a minute. It's not a perfectly rust-free bus, but it's also not a rusty bucket. You know, a decent welder or body guy could go through, fix the rust. I actually was hoping that Clinton would have fixed a little bit more for me, but we just wanted to tap out on a budget to where we could pass this bus along to someone else and they could enjoy it and still have some room to work on it, you know, and not get upside down in it. So I believe I really have this bus priced in such a way that someone can continue to work on it, enjoy it, drive it, especially if you leave the paint alone. Of course, if you want to paint it, that's fine. You know, this has, someone took the liberty to cut this panel out a long time ago to make it easier to work on the engine and to pull the engine in and out. It's not my favorite thing, but since it was done, I chose to put a new panel on. We just put a steel plate on there. I chose to do that and to leave it because as long as it's somebody else had done it now, I just said, let's leave it. It leaves a good, easy access to the engine. You can really easily get to the battery and the distributor and everything under there a lot more easy than going in through the hatch. So, or having to jack the vehicle entirely up to pull the engine out from underneath. So now this gives you the option of pulling stuff out from the top. Like I said, not exactly my favorite, probably not something I would have done per se, but somebody chose to do that. This is the original headliner as well. And another couple things that my Volkswagen guy pointed out was these are the original Hella lights that came from the Westfalia. And actually the light that's way up there in the front is actually working, which is really cool. Usually they're not. The doors open pretty good. Shut pretty nice and smooth, as you can see. This is the hard one right here. This is also the vent window, and you can see it needs to be pulled in just a little bit, adjusted maybe a little bit more, but this is a brand new piece of weather stripping. It typically takes a little bit of hot sun time to get that to wear in, and then that door should close better. Brand new weather stripping around the doors, brand new door panels. Like I said, we went through, trying to let my camera adjust here, went through and you know, spent a lot of money on parts. So it's got the old floor mat. Seats are in great shape, no rips or tears. And this is the light I was saying the other day. I flipped it on. There you go. Those are almost never work. So, like my Volkswagen guy said, man, you realize how rare it is to find those working. The dash is actually in pretty good shape. An older radio, missing the knobs, and you know, obviously somebody probably just want to change that out to a newer one. Speedometer does work. I'm not sure that the fuel gauge works. I don't believe that it does. Turn it on and see. Oh, yeah, it actually does. It's low on fuel, but emergency brake does work. Brakes have been serviced. They still need to be pumped twice before they pump up all the way. So mechanically, the bus really does need to be gone through. It shifts through all the gears. There's a small clip that goes underneath the transmission, under the shifter boot. It's not very expensive to do, but it would be a good idea to change that out as well. Get a little bit more of a crisp shift. So all the glass seems to be in good shape. I don't see any cracked glass anywhere, which is nice. You know, it's when you're doing one of these, it's like every little thing that you want to be right, you know, is on your side, because it's one less thing that you have to worry about. So we did go through and get the lights working, so that, you know, we were thinking and hoping that it was going to be street ready. So let me show you a little bit of the rust, because it does have a few spots. Actually, not a tough spot to fix here, but this floor pan in the front could stand to be patched. Underneath the bus, there are a few spots. Inner fender well looks good here. And this is old, the old weather stripping from the factory, so that's not, come on camera, that's not actually rust. If I pull that down, you can see, and actually looked like the original color of this bus was yellow, but a long time ago somebody painted it. So you can see this is the bottom part of what I was showing you. Here's one of the good things about this bus. Frame rails are in good shape all the way around. We don't see any major rust on the frame rails, but it does have some rust around the front nose. So this would be an awesome bus to, like, if I was going to keep this bus, honestly, what I would do to it is just fix the engine, get it running, get it out on the road, and enjoy it like it is. And you know, now somebody else may disagree and say, no, I'm looking for something to completely restore, and this fits the bill. Like I said, nice solid frame rails. These are the underneath of the floor pans I was showing you above that are in great shape. Brand new exhaust back here. Some surface rust there. And there's your drains for your sink, which is cool. And again, you can see the side as well, that the frame rails are in good shape. The side of the bus is actually pretty clean. A couple of spots of rust. There's a rust hole here. So it's got a little bit of rust all the way around it. I mean, and a few spots here and a few spots there. You know, if you were going to put this up on the lift and drop the engine while you've got it up and the engine's being rebuilt, it'd be a good idea to spend a day or two to just go through and cut out some of the rust and fix it. That would be a good thing to do. But the cool thing is we've gone around the outside and we've done a couple of rust repairs on the outside, and it's clean. The body is all the way around. So I love this thing. This is another one that's sometimes kind of hard to, it's easy to get emotional and hard to want to let them go, because it wouldn't, it'd be a little project, but it'd be a really fun winter project to what I would do personally if it was mine is take it to a Volkswagen guy, let him rebuild the engine, and while he's doing that, I might go through and fix a few of the little rust spots up underneath. I said little, that's maybe not fair. There's a couple of big ones, like that one in the front, but a couple of small ones, and just get everything dialed in, put the new engine back in it, and just really drive and enjoy it the way it is. It's got such a cool character with all this patina, and like I said, you can't go out and buy a paint job like this. So love to see this bus back out on the road. They're bringing big dollars now. When they're fully restored, they're getting crazy. So I'm really trying to make this one affordable. It's extremely difficult to find a Volkswagen bus under $10,000 even as a project, and you find them in pieces in somebody's garage, all in pieces. You know, and they say come pick this thing up and, you know, pick up all the pieces, bring a truck and a trailer and bring, you know. So this is a cool find, to find a bus under 10 grand that's potentially pretty, you know, with not much work mechanically running and driving. So PeachtreeClassicCars.com.